welcome to Math Tutor Hub. Today we're going to be going over area and perimeter, specifically of rectangles, squares, and circles. Follow along to go over some examples and how to solve for these types of problems. So our first step is just knowing what area and perimeter mean. So whenever we have a shape, let's say we have a rectangle here, the perimeter is the distance on the outside of a rectangle or any sort of shape you're solving for. So the distance on the outside. When we were talking about the area, it's anything within the shaded region in the middle. We are talking about an area of a certain shape. So let's go over some practice problems here that I have. I also have written the formulas here on the right side in case we want to reference that at all. So our first shape we have is a rectangle that has a length of 8 centimeters and a width of 4 centimeters. So let's solve for both the perimeter and the area. Solving for the perimeter using our formula on the right, we can write that perimeter is equal to 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, which makes sense, right? If we had 8 centimeters at the top and bottom and 4 centimeters on each side, adding all of that together would give us this formula here. So let's plug in the variables for length and width. So 2 times the length, which is 2 times 8, plus 2 times the width, which is 2 times 4. We can do those calculations. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 4 times 2 is 8. Adding those two values, we get 24 centimeters as our perimeter. Good. Okay, so our next step would be solving for area. So our area, given the formula on the right-hand side, is length times the width. Okay, so we can take our length, which is 8 centimeters. We can multiply that by 4 centimeters, which would give us our solution. So 8 times 4 is 32 centimeters squared. It's always important to write squared when we're solving for area as our unit of measure. Okay, moving on to our square here. Let's first solve for the perimeter. So the perimeter, we can write down our formula, is 4 times the length, which makes sense because we're going to add all 4 sides. So that would also be equal to length plus length plus length plus length, right? Which is 4L. So solving for that, we have 4 times our length here is 6. 4 times 6 is 24 centimeters. Good. So solving for area next, using our formula on the right-hand side, we have length squared, which would be length times width, kind of the same as the rectangle. However, all sides are the same for a square. So we can do 6 times 6, which would give us 36 centimeters squared. So those are just 2 examples on how to solve for perimeter and area for both a rectangle and a square. So let's go into some of these examples. So our first example is asking the diameter of a circle is 6 centimeters. What is the area and the perimeter? Okay, so we know that the diameter given below is 6 centimeters. So diameter is equal to 6 centimeters. So our first step, we can take both of our formulas. Maybe we can write those down first. Perimeter is equal to 2 pi r. And the area is equal to pi r squared. So both of our formulas need the radius. So our first step is to find out what that radius is. So if we're given the diameter, we will know that the radius is just half of that diameter. So radius is going to be equal to 3 centimeters. So our first step could be solving for the perimeter. So perimeter is equal to 2 pi. We can sub in for the radius 3. Simplifying that, we can write 6 pi. So our perimeter is going to be equal to 6 pi. Okay, now solving for the area. So our area is equal to pi r squared. We can write pi. We can sub in our value for the radius, which is 3 squared. I forgot the units on this side, centimeters. Now for our area, we have pi 3 squared, so we can do 3 squared. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9 pi centimeters squared for the area. Good. Okay, our next problem says the perimeter of a square is 60 centimeters. What is the area? Okay, so in this problem, they gave us a square, and they gave us the solution for the perimeter. So we know, given above here, we can take a look at our formula. For a square, the perimeter is equal to 4L. So we can write P is equal to 4L. In this case, they gave us the solution for that perimeter, which is 60 is equal to 4L. So now we have to solve for L. Doing that, we know that 4 is being multiplied by L on this side, 4 times L. So to get that L all by itself, we have to divide by 4. So those can cancel out, and what we do on one side, we always do to the other side. So simplifying that, we have 60 over 4 is equal to L. 60 divided by 4 is 15. So 15 is equal to our length. Good. So now we can solve for our area. So going back above, maybe we need to take a look at our equations here. Area for a square is L squared. So area is equal to L squared, or L times L. Okay, so we can sub in our length, which is 15, which we solved right beforehand, 15 squared. So we can plug that into our calculators. 15 squared is going to give us 225 centimeters squared. Good, so that's how we're going to solve for the area in that problem. Okay, we're going to move on our last problem here. So let's find the perimeter and area of the composite shape. Okay, so here we're given a few different side lengths, and we're asked to find the perimeter and area. So our first step right here is going to be, we're going to find all missing sides. So we are missing a few sides in this example. We're missing this side, and we're missing the bottom. I believe it's just those two. So let's solve for those two sides. If we know on the right-hand side here, we're given 11 centimeters, and we have 4 centimeters here. So this missing side here is going to be 11 minus 4 to make up that difference. If we subtract 11 from 4, we're going to be given 7. So we can write 7 centimeters. And on the bottom, we have a 6 centimeters here, and we have 8 centimeters here. So we know that this bottom side is going to be 6 centimeters plus 8 centimeters, which would give us 14 centimeters. So we can write that in, 14 centimeters. Good. So when we're trying to solve for the area and the perimeter for shapes like this, so our first step, let's do the perimeter first. So our perimeter, like I mentioned above, is all of our distance on the outside of any shape. Okay, so we can add up all of those side lengths. So we can do 6, starting at the top, 6 plus 11 plus 14 plus 4 plus 8 and plus 7. Okay, so we can simplify that. Let's plug that in. We can do 6 plus 11 plus 14 plus 4 plus 8 and plus 7, which gives us 50 centimeters. Good, so that's how we're going to solve for the perimeter of those shapes. So that's checked off. And our last step is solving for the area. So we can write our formula for area. So what is our formula for area going to be here? If we want to find everything in this shaded region here, the area of the shaded region, what our first step is what we're going to do is we're going to break that up into a few, two different shapes. We're going to break it up into shapes which we know the formulas for. So let's say we extended this line just like that. Let's make it maybe a little thicker. I can make it right there. Good, so we have one shape here, right? Our one shape is going to be right there, and our other shape is going to be right here. Good, so we're going to have two shapes there that we're going to solve for the area for. Let's call one A, and let's call our other one B. So our first step, let's solve for the area of A. So we can do area of shape A, area of a rectangle. If we ever need to go back and look at our formula, area is equal to length times width. So we can do area is equal to length times width. So our length in this case is 14. Our width in this case is 4. Good. Solving for that, 14 times 4. If you don't know, we can always plug it in our calculator. It's going to give us 56 centimeters squared. So that's going to be our one area. Okay, now we can do area for B. So our area for shape B, it's also a rectangle, so it's going to be the same formula, length times width. So we can plug in our length. Our length would be 7 centimeters, right? This one. And our width is going to be 6 centimeters. So we're going to do 7 times 6. We can do 7 times 6 is going to be 42 centimeters squared. Okay, now it's asking for the area of the full shape. So we found A and B. So what we're going to do now is just we're going to add those two. So area of A plus B, which would be our area for the shape. We can just add those two areas. So we know area of A is 56 centimeters squared. And we're going to add that to 42 centimeters squared, which would leave us with 98 centimeters squared. Okay, and that's our final answer for that area of the full shape. Thank you for listening, and if you do have any questions or concerns, feel free to drop them down in the comments below. If you have any video suggestions in the future, feel free to also comment. Thank you for watching Math Tutor Hub.